Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I'm your host, Sam. Alongside me, as always, is the GM, Tarek. How you doing tonight?
Except the weeks I'm not here, but I'm here this week.
Yes.
I'm doing pretty good. It's Tuesday. I have a short week at work, and it's a holiday weekend, so I'm game for it. How about you, buddy?
I am doing pretty good myself. Looking forward to more exciting football, of course, this week. And, of course, looking forward to seeing King Football. Jesus, how are you today?
I am feeling mighty regal, mighty omnipotent, and I'm ready for week 6.
Man has one good week, and he's like, oh my goodness, I am back on
Don't
top.
call it a comeback. I've been here for a few years.
We won't.
Yeah, well.
We'll see what happens next week, Brady.
And then, of course, our top-tier QB coach, Jessica. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I feel like a winner. So I don't know. This first place feels good.
Yeah. Well,
Power
enjoy
goes to
life
everyone's head.
Huh?
Power goes to everyone's head.
Yeah, now I was next to first, and now I'm almost last.
Almost.
But
Brady is.
I think the standings are closer than you guys are gonna know ahead of time, of course, because I'm the only one that knows ahead of time. But we are, of course, brought to you by
Yahoo.
Aardvark Concepts Incorporated. More than just a sign shop. Check them out up in Westminster for all your sign and decal needs. And, of course, into deep of Maryland. Catch them at the Waterfront Hotel Bar, October 18th. It's a Friday night. It's going to be a great show. You won't want to miss it. Speaking of a good show, a couple of overtime games last week. The Ravens game, back and forth in overtime. Missed winning field goal by the Bengals. Allowed the Ravens to come back and win that. As well as a couple of other. I think there was one other overtime game last week, wasn't there?
The Thursday night game.
That's
between
right.
The Bucs and the Falcons.
Yeah, where they went right down the field and scored on the Buccaneers. Didn't even have to give the Falcons didn't have to give the Buccaneers a chance to reciprocate. Kind of brings me to my question this week: with both of those options going on this week, should they adopt the college football rules where both teams get an opportunity to score no matter what happens? Just throw it over to the GM.
I'd like to go first because I don't know what those rules are. However, the rules I do like, and just pointed out pre-recording, we may have discussed this before, and it's sounding familiar in my head now. I do like the hockey rules. So the hockey rules, you go into overtime, there's one overtime period, then they have a shootout. And I think a shootout would be very entertaining to watch. You just leave it up to the kicker. You start at like 10 yards or something, or you just have it at 50 and just have them just kick the hell out of it. And the first one it misses loses.
I like that. Like have a one quarter, whoever is ahead at the end of the quarter, and if they are tied, then yeah, that'd be awesome. A shootout from the kickers. I mean, I say that, but we have an amazing kicker, so.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that idea. It's the first I've honestly heard of it. And if we talked about it last year, I'm totally forgetting. And what we have in football now, maybe not in the regular season. I don't know. It should be, but at least definitely in the playoffs. I mean, it's the end of the season. These are the best of the best teams. Both teams should be given the opportunity to compete. And by letting one phase of the 3 phases of football determine the outcome of the game, it doesn't seem right.
Quite frankly, I like the college football rules for them. The rule, for anybody who doesn't know, is both teams start at 30. One team starts at the 30-yard line. They try to go down the field and score. Of course, you get first downs every 10 yards, whatnot, and they try to score a touchdown. They can kick a field goal. The other team gets a chance to reciprocate. And if they tie it, goes to the next overtime is what it's called. And they do that 2 more times. And if it's still tied at that point, they're no longer allowed to kick extra points. They have to go for 2. So I like it for college because their level of competition isn't as intense as the NFL is. Those are the best of the best. They're hitting harder. They're running longer. Their season lasts longer. I don't like it. I don't like that for the NFL simply for that reason. And I have a cat running around like a nut.
I don't know what that was.
That is a cat running after a cat toy.
I thought Michelle was just like banging on the floor.
Actually, she was running around after him, but she stopped when I started to say something. So, that being said, the NFL rules, I actually prefer the old school sudden death rules, where there's no time limit, there's no ties. That game ends with one team winning or the other, and it's the first team that scores. Quite frankly, if you didn't want it to be that way, if you didn't want the possibility of losing simply on one score, one drive, one anything, you shouldn't have let it get to overtime. You should have won it in regulation.
I'm not 100% on that one. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, we've all played. Nope. Don't shush me. Don't you shush me. No, I disagree.
That's my opinion.
Don't you shush me.
Oh, Lord, this one's getting off to a great start, guys.
Speaking of a great start, let's take a look at those standings. Ooh, nobody under 500 for the week, but
Close.
Mr. Brady up there at 9-5.
Coming back. Crown still kind of fits, even though I bought a child size one.
You are only 2 points behind me and 5 points behind Jessica, so anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
I think I might be inching a little closer to Jessica, so we'll see how it goes.
Can I just say, this season is whack. Like, the fact that like we're all at like set, like you, two of us, we're 50% at 50% for the week, and we're all like right neck and neck. Like usually we're like everyone's getting like 10s and 12s for the week, and we're like consistently at like around 50%. This season, like games are going completely off the rail.
Has been a lot of adversity this year, a lot of teams winning that nobody really thought they were going to. It's been a little harder to predict earlier in the season. I think that is going to change as the season progresses, simply because you're going to get an idea of who these teams are and who they can beat. And my shoulder just popped. So let's pop on over to King Football Jesus, your game of the week. Give us that gospel.
Oh, man. Speaking of popping, both of these teams are hoping to pop right back into a winning week this week. So I have the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Big story out of this one, Josh Allen completing a ridiculously low number of passes last week, 9 out of 30. And then the Jets today letting their head coach go unceremoniously, not letting him address the players. They just escorted him out of the building. So what's going to happen in this game? The Jets defense looked pretty good against Minnesota, but we all know teams that travel to London, they don't normally look like themselves over there. So I think this is going to be a get right week for the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to get that run game started early with James Cook. And I think Josh Allen, as long as he doesn't bounce his head off the turf like he did last week, he's going to have a better completion percentage this week, somewhere closer to 60 to 70%, not in the 30s. Because after watching 4 quarters of Aaron Rodgers play, plus the weeks before, he doesn't look like the Aaron Rodgers of old. He looks like a 40-year-old man who is playing football for a living that just tore his Achilles last year. So I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to a last-second score by Buffalo, but I have Buffalo with a get-right week in Week 6.
I do not think this is going to be a close game. I think the Jets have looked like trash, and that was just their scapegoat by firing their head coach. They have, I mean, the overthrows are insane. Aaron Rodgers looks terrible. They're averaging on first and down like 3 yards or something like that. the interceptions are crazy. And then I just don't think they're going to have an answer for, not that the Buffalo Bills have a ton of offensive weapons right now, but they do have offensive weapons and Josh Allen. So I think it's going to be no question the Bills.
I completely agree with my colleagues here. It is like it's in London. Brady brought up the coach firing, so their morale may be low. We don't know. Bills, I mean, they're technically the home team, even though it's across the pond. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be close.
It's not across the pond. The Jets played in London last week.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It's in Buffalo. So even more that Buffalo's going to win. Where is it? It's in
New York.
Well, New Jersey.
Oh,
New Jersey.
Whatever. Buffalo. I told you I was a stupid one.
He beats himself.
Next.
Anyway, let's land this baby in a fashion that we can all agree on. We're all picking the Buffalo Bills. Quite frankly, the Jets have struggled quite a bit. Their defense has been their saving grace. However, Sauce Gardner may be out this week with a concussion. He went out last week with a head injury in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And quite frankly, that's going to be a huge blow to the Jets. That is the lockdown guy for their team. Now, I do predict that the offense will start kicking it up a notch now that Salah's gone. It's been kind of an issue for him in the past couple places he's been. The Jets, and if I'm not mistaken, he was a Bronco coach a couple years ago, was he not?
Who was that?
Robert Saleh.
I believe so.
So I feel like without him, they're going to be more open to throwing the ball all around. Aaron Rodgers may have a longer leash to just go nuts. So I feel like the Jets their offense is going to uptick a little bit this week, but Buffalo's still going to win this. Now let's get on to Jessica's game of the week. What has she drawn up for us today?
So my game of the week is the 49ers. Do not
I gave the wrong person. It's Tarek's game of the week.
Oh, okay.
Let's trade that over to Tarek, the GM.
You can just
game of the week.
Chargers and Broncos.
There we go.
Yay! I got something right. All right, so not because I'm a fan, just because I'm looking at the numbers here. I'm going with the Broncos on this one. You got Bo Nix finally coming into his own a little bit. There's really good footage of him getting into a nice argument with the head coach whose name escapes my name because I was looking up Robert Saleh.
Sean Payton.
There you go. They got into a huge altercation on the sideline. And a lot of the community is like, okay, good. We finally have a quarterback that actually wants to fight, as opposed to just, okay, yeah, whatever you yelled at me, I'm done. So Broncos defense is really tough. You finally got the offense starting to click. I was looking, is Justin Herbert still out, or is he starting?
They haven't announced yet.
Okay, because I know he was hurt, and what's his name was in. But not that it makes a difference. I think Broncos are going to be able to do it. Chargers are predicted to win per Yahoo. I think Broncos, they're on a bit of a hot streak. They're coming at them. I think that was one of the losses that forced the Jets to fire Saleh. So, but yeah, I think Denver's got it. I think it'll be kind of close. They're still getting their footing under them, but I'm going with Denver.
I actually I'm a little bit back and forth on this one, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers. They're coming fresh off of a bye. They're a little bit rested, and even though I think the Denver Broncos have won 3 straight, I think this is where they hit that wall. Is it in LA?
No.
No, it's in Denver.
What you do is you just assume where it is and just charge head on.
Sam always puts the home team on the right-hand side of the screen.
I do.
To be fair,
Why
I
would
was
know
looking
that?
at Yahoo, and they usually do it that way too, and they had it reversed. So.
All right. Well, that being said, there are a ton of questionable players for the Chargers, and really not many for the Broncos. But it's probably going to be game time based on that. And I think as long as the key players are going, I am going to go with the Chargers because they're coming off of the bye and they really need this win.
I am going with Tarek this week, and I'm picking the Broncos. Their defense really impressed me last week. Pat Surtain had that 100-yard pick six, and as 2.5 of the panel here knows what a Greg Roman offense is with a masterclass of a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert doesn't bring those same skill sets to the table. So I think the Broncos defense is really going to be what sets apart this game here. Bo Nix has been playing really well as of late, and I was on the record of saying he was not a very good quarterback after the first 2 weeks. But he has been playing pretty well so far, but I really think that Pat Surtain and that defense is going to be a problem. Even though they do give up the 10th most yards to running backs, I don't think that's really going to be an issue because I think Herbert's going to have to throw the ball to get them back in this game, and that's just going to lead to a couple turnovers, I think.
The Broncos offense has been improving steadily as the games have gone on. Week 5, of course, was probably their best offensive production all year. The Chargers coming off of their bye, of course, giving Herbert a little bit of time to get healthy. I feel like, however, the biggest thing for the Broncos is Patrick Surtain. Now, that man has been all over the field. He has been lights out, shut down corner that they have needed for quite some time. And quite frankly, because he hadn't had any help before, I think they struggled a bit in the past couple of years. Not this year. That defense is carrying that offense. That's giving giving more opportunities to the offense to get more yards, to get down the field, and I think it's helping a lot. However, I got a gut feeling that the LA Chargers are going to come out of this game hot, ready to roll, and they're going to get the victory in Mile High. Quite frankly, it's going to be I think it's going to be in the mid to high 20s for each team, but the Broncos will fall just short. So I got the Chargers. Now, let's get to Jessica's game of the week. Jessica, what have you drawn up for us?
All right. Well, I've already kind of let the cat out of the bag, but I am doing the 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks, which is kind of an unexpected, more of a challenge than I think we would have thought it was going to be this year. This 49ers for the last couple of years have just looked like a really well put together team. And this year they have struggled, mainly in the fourth quarter. They really kind of fall off a cliff. And the Seattle Seahawks, I've watched Geno Smith throw some dimes. I've been extremely impressed with him. However, I think I picked San Francisco in this one. Actually, I don't remember. Okay. So it's really, I'm a defense lover, and I know they both have some key players on defense. We've got like Fred Warner on defense for San Francisco, 2 interceptions so far. He's 3rd in the NFL, 39 tackles. Nick Bosa, enough said. Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd. And on the other side with Seattle's defense, Derek Hall, Tyrell Dodson, Julian Love, Rayshon Jenkins. I don't think they quite match up. They're not like the power players as much as San Francisco's defense has. And then with that, Brock Purdy's actually putting up decent numbers right now. Doesn't seem like it because, again, they're fourth quarter cliff diving. And I think George Kittle is starting to really come out and start putting up what he needs to help with, Mason and Juwan Jennings on the offense. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be less than a touchdown, but I am taking San Francisco.
I agree with Jess. This is I think the first really must-win game of the season for both of these teams, really for San Fran to kind of right the ship after that last-second loss against Arizona, and Seattle really to put some distance between them and San Francisco, because San Francisco, we know the talent's on that roster. They should be able to get right back into it. So if Seattle can get an extra game, on San Francisco. I mean, that's always a great time for a team. But I'm going with San Francisco because they need this win. And we talked about it earlier in the season, what quarterback has the most to prove this year. And I said Brock Purdy. And, yeah, their offenses look pretty good, but those fourth quarter nosedives are coming right back to him. I mean, he has got to find a way to get these players involved. I mean, sure, they're out Christian McCaffrey, but that should not make the entire wagon fall into the dirt. So I'm expecting a better game out of him, but I'm really expecting this to be a close game because of how well Seattle's offense has looked. It's really been Seattle's defense and their special teams that let them down last week against the Giants. So this is going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it, but I have San Francisco by a field goal.
So yeah, I agree with my colleague, San Francisco. There's not much to say outside of what they've said. San Francisco, to me, is just looking a lot better. Looking at just the Yahoo thing, it's 78% San Francisco, 22 Seattle. So everything's leaning their way. Going with playing the chalk, I guess, as Sam would say. But that phrase that we all definitely know and use all the time. But yeah, I'm going with San Francisco.
Tarek going chalk. That's okay. I am too. San Francisco is a team I'm picking to win this game. However, a couple of key points. Jessica is absolutely right. Brock Purdy is fourth in passing yards. And quite frankly, their running back is second in yards. So they have been putting up quite a bit. Now, their receiver, who they paid at the beginning of the season, Ayuk, has put up an absolute dud of a season so far. He hasn't really helped them out much. He did fine last week, but it wasn't, maybe he's getting his footing, maybe not. We'll have to see how it goes. Seattle, however, Geno Smith has the most passing yards in the league. He has been pretty darn good. However, he struggled a little bit last week against the Giants, team that's relied mainly on its defense this year. Their offense has helped them out a little bit, but Geno Smith has taken advantage of the athleticism of DK Metcalf, and Njigba, the receiver for Seattle, has been pretty decent. I feel like San Francisco's defense needs to step up in this game to shut those two down in order to have a good shot, and I feel like they do it. I feel like this game is in the low 20s, but San Francisco pulls out the victory with a last-second field goal. Now,
a new kicker.
Oof.
Proving himself. Let's get to those pop panel quick pick'ems. Let's take a look. Not a lot of diversity here. Everybody picking the same exact things.
Only one that I flip-flopped on here was Green Bay, Arizona, because
That's
Arizona looked really good last week, and Jordan Love made some bad decisions last week. But
that was my alternate game of the week.
Arizona looked good, huh? That guy with the little legs.
Yeah, but did you see him run past all of the defenders with his little tippy toes all the way around?
Didn't seem to matter much. They lost.
Well, no, he won last week.
Arizona? Oh,
yeah, they beat San Francisco.
That's right. Oh, good for them. All right.
That's the most patronizing thing I've ever heard.
Only one person picked the Carless New Orleans Saints.
Which that may wind up changing if he doesn't know that happened.
Yeah, Tarek, the
Saints
the
will probably
quarterback.
be without Carr.
The quarterback is probably going to be out for Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go ahead and change that?
You got an oblique injury.
All you got to do is change it yourself. You'll be good to go. I keep my picks the same, as Jessica has pointed out in the past.
Yep. I decided I'm just not going to tell you guys if I'm going to flip-flop. I'm just going to do it. So
That's what I do. I don't tell Sam if I change my pick.
because I just get crap for it.
Well, I haven't challenged him in the past, and then he didn't take into account that I changed it, and then I was not that it mattered. I lost anyway, but
it's unfortunate.
Oh, so the fix is in, is what you're saying, Tarek?
yes.
And then, of course, me and Jessica are the only ones to pick the Chargers over the Denver Broncos. Not a lot of
Take over the
different
top, Brady.
picks
Let's
this
do it.
week. And then, of course, everybody picked the Bengals and the Bills.
Man, how crazy would it be if the Giants beat the Bengals, though?
I mean, they had a really good run game with that rookie running back last week. He had over 100 yards rushing against Seattle's defense in Seattle. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, if this was last year, this would be a laughing stock of a game. But, Daniel Jones has been smarter with the football. They've been running the ball well. The defense with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns has looked really good at times. So,
yeah, and I meant more like who would have thought that this could have even, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure.
Everybody thought it was going to be the Bengals were going to look like the Bengals of old. You know what I mean? Like,
the Giants have a better record than the Bengals, and this is
yeah,
not
it's
the 90s.
crazy.
This is
crazy.
And this week was the first week that I think the Bengals actually looked good. So, like, maybe they're on an upswing. I don't know.
I'd say Chase was looking really good this week.
Yeah, he looked great.
So good.
Sucked to play against him in fantasy.
Oh,
I'm sure it did. To have him.
Yeah, it was great to have him.
I don't want to talk about that.
We're moving on to New York.
Shut up, Brady. There's nothing to do with the fact that Brady just beat me in fantasy.
And not in first place in that either.
Huh?
And not in first place in that either.
No.
I beat Jessica in fantasy too this week, so.
Yeah, well.
All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and joining us here tonight. We appreciate it. Hope you stuck through all our craziness. It was a fun time tonight. Click like, click subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know who you think is right. Let us know who you think is not dumb. And we will see you next week. What?
Nothing.
Yeah, I was thinking, which way would I point?
Exactly. Quick, I'll end it before you figure it out. Have a good night, guys. I'm Tarek.
I'm Jessica.
I'm KFJ.
And I'm Sam, and you have a great football week.
Bye, guys.